Well, thank you, Diane, for coming on the Red Carpet Round Table.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Let's dig into what attracted you to begin your career into the entertainment industry.
Well, I think everything started, I think like everybody else, right, in this industry. You see, other people's work, and that always inspires you. It started really, really young. And I feel that I always say this, but I think it all started with Lord of the Rings, so very nerd thing, right? And it was because my mom gave me the Lord of the Rings trilogy for Christmas, and it had, all the CDs, well, the CDs, the DVDs, with all the, behind the scenes and everything. I watched absolutely everything, and I just fell in love with the process, right? So it's not just what you
Hmm
see on
hmm
screen, but all the work that is behind all that. So I think that was my first, I want to do something like this. And I think still to this day, in those moments that I'm like, yes, I'll give up or whatever, I watch something that inspires me and it always brings it back, right? Like, I want to do that. I want to do that. I want to do the same thing. And so I think it always brings me back. And that's where everything started. And I think it's keeping me still grounded, in this industry.
Right. I think many people want to know what's your why?
My why, like, to do it,
Yes.
to, I think because I would say I'm a very creative person, right? Like I've been doing like a lot of things throughout my life. I've done photography. I used to dance. I had a band and everything. But I feel that, the creating movies or either being behind or in front of the camera
hmm
is something that is very dear to me because it's always the creating that story and telling it to someone else and having that impact, right? In whatever way, it doesn't matter what it is. But I think because of just the essence of being a human and everything that you can create from that, and all the feelings and things that come with this art in particular, I think it's something very beautiful and it's something that I always love to do and share with other people. So I think it's just, yeah, it's the very cliche, but it's the storytelling part of it, right? And what you can tell with all that. Hmm.
Right. Everybody has their why. What,
Yeah.
why they wanted to get involved in entertainment industry. And everybody has an interesting story of their background and to me it's powerful
Hmm.
because everybody has the story they want to tell the world.
Right, right.
That's the one thing for sure. You're a
Hmm.
director, right?
Yes.
And
Mhm.
you want to make films to
Yeah.
let everybody know, hey, this is my vision, but this is my story as well,
Right. Yeah,
right?
and but I also like people creating their own story from what they watch, right? So it's funny because no matter what the message you want to give, everybody's going to take that and like make in their mind or whatever else they want to do. They're gonna feel it in a different way. So it's beautiful to create something and then see what people can do
hmm
with it.
Right.
So that's why I tend to like complex stories, right? Because you can pull a lot from it. So and that's what I want to do. Hopefully, the rest of my life when it comes to directing, I always want to go to those like difficult stories and
hmm
complex and that they make you think and yeah.
Right. What is your genre of film that you like to produce?
Thrillers for sure, for sure. That's like my favorite. I love to watch them and I love to create them. As I said, because they are very complex. I
hmm
just watch. Well, I'm watching like a lot of other people's severance, and I love the mysteries of it, right? But I also watch a very good show called Dark. It's a German show in Netflix, and I was just so. I think it became one of my favorite shows because of the acting that is fantastic and I've never seen something like this. I'm obsessed with their acting, but also the storytelling is so well, created, composed, ended, right? Like everything at the end makes sense. And I absolutely love that, right? Like there's a lot of mysteries. You want to think about it constantly, but at the end you have all the answers.
Hmm.
It was so, so well done. And I'm like, I just want to do things like this, like I want to bring that in people and think, oh my God, yeah, I watched this and it just, I didn't want it to end, but at the same time, I wanted all the answers. And yeah, I love that kind of genre, right? Like the thriller,
Right.
they have you thinking about it all the time. Yeah.
So what is your favorite thriller movie?
Oof, that's difficult because I have a lot of them. Um, it's very interesting. I always love Fight Club because that end was just fantastic to me.
Hmm.
I overthink. I tend to, right, because of like the I guess the profession, but I tend to think a lot when I'm watching something. I sometimes I want to turn off my mind because it's like I'm trying to get the answer all the time. And with that movie, I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't figure it
Right.
out till the end. So it was like fantastic to me. So yeah, I think that's one of my favorites for sure. Yeah, I guess you can call it a thriller, right? I mean, it's like actiony and all that, but definitely there's a mystery
Right. A thriller movie, I love it. I agree with you. Thriller movie actually gets the audience on the edge of their seat.
there.
It's like a
Right.
scary movie, but also it's kind of not scary movie. Depends,
Right.
right?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be, but at least it has to have you, as you said, like at the edge of your seat and thinking all the
Right.
time, like what's going on? Yeah.
So, um, I want to dig into your acting.
Hmm.
Um, as an actor, being on set.
Hmm.
And the reason I'm asking you this because you're a director. Do you ever have the moment when you're acting that you feel like I need to take over because I don't like the way it's going? I know this, I'm trying to find the right way to ask you
Yeah.
this. I'm sorry. Do you feel weird being an actor, even though you know you're a director as well?
It's interesting because I'm a super easygoing person, super easygoing, super flexible. And but at the same time, as you said, like you feel weird because it's like I know what I could do, but I respect a lot and I do this both ways, right? Like as a director, I like to respect actors because I know what goes and the actor is gonna know the character even more than me as a director,
Right,
right? It's
right.
like the director kind of like takes the story where it's supposed to go, but the
Hmm.
actor takes that character and shapes it, right? So mm, every director is different when it comes to that. And I like to adapt to them and whatever they want to offer. I am on set. I'm not a person that is gonna give like a lot of I would say like opinions on my character unless I'm asked to. Again, because I'm very flexible and every director is different. So I'm not gonna think everybody's like me and it's gonna let me do whatever I want or so it doesn't feel super weird, but it comes to your mind, I could do this. But then it's like, no, wait, you have to respect it's their project and right. So it does come to you because you have that, you can turn it off, right? You have the mind, going both ways
But
constantly.
it must be hard, like you said.
Yeah, yeah, because again, like you have ideas and it's like, oh, maybe we should do this. But then it's like,
Right.
I'm also a little shy sometimes. So it's like, I don't want to say anything because I don't know.
Well,
So,
there are some directors that, male and female, they love being on set. And there's
mhm,
some um for you, I'm asking this is kind of toward a question as well, but do you also act and direct at the same time? Because I know a lot of directors they make their own film, their own
mhm,
TV shows. And a lot of people don't know it behind the scenes, but you may be making a film or TV show, and then you're in front of the camera, you're acting a few scenes, and then you leave and
mhm,
you go behind this camera and direct this everybody. Um, have you ever experienced that? And if so, do you
mhm.
like doing that, or do you like that if you're only directing, you just want to be behind the cameras?
So I've done it actually at the beginning of my career, like when I was doing shorts, and actually my first short ever in school was like that, right? And I feel, and actually I have a project that at some point I would like to do, which I was gonna direct and act, but I feel that if my mind is in acting, I can't have my full mind in, directing. So it's very challenging because as an actor, I second guess myself. I want to be very focused. I'm very perfectionist on what I'm doing. So I feel that if I'm doing that and focusing on myself, I can't focus on the other actor. So it's very challenging because as
Hmm.
a director, I like to have full attention on my actors and be there for them too, right?
Right,
So
right.
not like I want to direct every move, but I just want to be there for them, right? If they need me, I want to make sure that they are giving them all their all, and if they need any change, like because actors naturally they're gonna look at you and to you
Hmm.
for that guidance. So you want to be there 100%. So I feel like I'll keep doing it. I'll keep being, every now and then behind and in front of the camera, but definitely I prefer to be like 100% one or the other. Yeah.
Right. I totally understand. And this is a tough question, and you may have a hard time deciding. Would you ever come to a point in your career that
Hmm.
you have to decide, I'm only going to stick with acting, no more directing, or I'm going to stick with directing only, no more acting? Have you ever thought about that? And if so, what is your decision as of now?
So yes, I thought about it a lot actually. And it's funny because I just had a conversation with my husband and I said, we're moving to Spain in July of this year, right? I'm from Spain originally, but and I was thinking, when I go there, I still, want to keep doing my things, right? Directing, acting, and everything. I said, but perhaps I want to focus on directing more because there's something about me that is I love acting and I love the industry. I don't like the what comes with it. So um maybe one day, hopefully, I'll be one of those that is high up there, in the spotlight. But not because I want to be in the spotlight, because that's the part that I don't like at all.
Hmm.
Not again, I think I'm still a little of a shy person enough to not want to be out there. I love people, so that's not my problem. Like I would love to chat with everybody and all that. But I don't think I like also like the bureaucracy of, being a star or whatever. I like to have, my little life with my husband and with my cats and all that. And I feel that directors are kind of like more,
Hmm.
nobody
Hmm.
stop a director in the street unless you're a fan or
Right.
something like that. So that's the only thing that's been always like, "Ugh, I want to be an actress," but that's kind of like the part that I don't like. So I was telling my husband the other day, maybe I'll just stick to directing. And
Stick to
I do,
directing.
yeah, and I do have that passion, right? I feel way more confident as a director than I feel as an
Hmm.
actress. Yeah, and I don't know. I think I've been always, I would say again, like I was also a photographer since like 2009. So I've been always like either holding a camera or like, thinking about stories. So I think that's why I feel more confident that I can, create that story from behind. When I'm in front of the camera, I feel more exposed. And I think that kind of like keeps me a little bit from,
Hmm.
that confidence. So probably one day I'll just stick to that. Yeah.
And one day, one day. Um,
Mhm.
since you mentioned Spain, um,
Mhm.
what is the difference between Spain, sorry, I said it wrong,
Mhm.
Spain's entertainment industry
Mhm.
compared to the United States film and entertainment industry? What is the big difference?
Oof, I would say the way things work for sure when it comes to, like what I said, like the bureaucracy of things and this is something also that I talked a lot to another friend. She's in Spain and she's an actress as well. How like here everybody is always like, trying to reach that high point, right? And
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
and how relationships between actors sometimes are a little more like competitive and there's so many people here
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
trying to get there, which I think in Europe maybe happens a little less, and same with Spain in general, not just Spain but like, yeah, as I said, Europe, because the industry is a little smaller, right? So and I think as a culture, we're also different, right? We're more like support each other and, not very individualistic. So I think that kind of like, sticks to everything, including the industry. There's probably, again, competitive people too, but it's a little more like, let's create together, let's see what we can do, let's enjoy what we can. And so it's a little more humble, it's a little more like, let's enjoy it. And if we get there, good. If not, whatever, I'm doing what
Right,
I'm doing
right.
and I enjoy it. There's also a lot of like theater actors and obviously like fame that is not the same. Like I grew up in Madrid and you see a lot of actors, from Spain sometimes, in Gran Via and in downtown and it doesn't feel like if you see here, I don't know, you see Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, oh my God, it's like I don't know, it's a different scale, I think,
Hmm
of fame and all that. So I feel that Europe is a way smaller industry. It's a little more like comfortable, maybe. Yeah.
hmm Yeah, because a lot of people are curious what other countries entertainment television's like because it's
Mhm.
some people say it's so different than the United States and some
Yeah.
say oh it's about the same or stuff like that. So um where do you see yourself
Mhm.
in 5 years?
Ooh, hopefully, again, like maybe directing more, but in Europe, um, I just want to do this like full time, right? Like focusing 100% on that, and I think I'm happy with just doing what I'm doing
Hmm
constantly, more of the same, working with, more friends and people that I love and just creating that. I don't think I need, anything grandiose, but
Right.
but I hope that in 5 years I'm still doing this and I'm still doing what I love. Yeah, for sure.
I know you will be. You will be doing it. Um, Now, I want to ask this question because a lot of people may be curious.
Hmm.
Between with the United States and the Europe television film industry,
Uh-huh.
do you feel like that the Europe film
Mhm.
industry and television industry is may not be blooming as much as the United States, or do you believe it's about the same?
It's actually blooming more in the last years, which
Hmm
is great. But you see way more shows and movies from Europe. I mean, kind of like fantasy has always been on that side of the world because there's a lot of British shows or like movies that
hmm
usually are
hmm
like fantasy and all that. But I've seen places like again like Spain having shows like Money Heist that that was like a boom and nobody expected that was a great show and on Netflix or the same thing with like Dark from Germany so you start seeing more and more shows from Europe or from I mean and movies too and I feel that that's been in the last maybe 5 years that we've started seeing more and more. And I feel that the industry here right now is in a really critical moment, right? Like we're seeing less things. The strike did a lot of damage and we're everybody's still recovering from that. And I think that now it's kind of like doing this, right? A little bit.
hmm
They are upping up their game in Europe and here is going a little, slowly it's not going as fast as usual. So who knows? It might pick up a little bit. Yeah. And also, I think the streaming platforms have been an opportunity for a
Yes, I
lot of other
agree.
countries, yeah, to show their
Hmm
their shows, what they can do. So that's great. It's not just, blockbuster movies anymore. Now a lot of people just like the show, right?
hmm
Binge watch whatever show and yeah.
Right. And you know, give a big shout out to Amazon Prime and Netflix
Right,
because
exactly.
you know, you can go on Netflix and type in any country movies like
Right.
Japan, Korea, England, Spain, United
Yeah.
States. The list goes on. But I think to me, it's amazing because it's giving opportunity that you see a movie that's like, oh, this is from Spain, for example, or
Mm-hmm.
oh, this is from England. It's not in
Right.
the theater in the United States. I'm going to put
Right.
BBC, for example, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh, you don't see this film, and you're like, wow, it's really good on Netflix.
Right.
And and I think it's really, I don't want to say I think, correction, it's really good because it's
Mm-hmm.
helping a lot of film directors just like you and
Mm-hmm.
producers and actors out there around the world and say, hey, my face is out there, my work is out there, and it's
Right.
helping everybody entertainment industry because
Mm-hmm.
eventually, if you ever come to the United States and do acting or directing, your name's out there, they've seen your work, and it's really helping the community
Mm-hmm.
because, you
Yeah.
know, it's telling everybody that if you want to be an actor, you can do it. You can start anywhere. You can be a director. And I think that if you start like a project and it gets
Mm-hmm.
on Netflix or Amazon Prime,
Right.
it's there. And
Mm-hmm.
that's absolutely what I love, and that you're totally
Yeah.
right. It's the streaming platform, and
Right.
I remember when Netflix was, I could be wrong, was only in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know,
I think
it's
it
it's
got to spend like way later.
it's
Yeah.
everywhere,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think again, not I think it's actually it's amazing. It's helping a
Yeah.
lot of directors out there, especially you.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know.
yeah, and like being able, I mean, not Netflix, I wish, but like for example, like the movie which is made with Ryan Wheeler, which I think you just interviewed, so that we can put it in streaming platforms, right? So it's giving indie directors, and actors
And
the
YouTube.
opportunity to be there, right? YouTube,
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
there's so many platforms right now where you can just put it there and people can see you, right? So.
right, right.
That's a great opportunity. I know, like that.
Hmm.
Also, there's the comment that people say, yeah, but now like actors don't become like superstars, right? Because again, it's not a blockbuster anymore. Yeah, but they're still having, work, a career, and there's more work for everybody, more opportunities. So we had to see, the good part of that. I
Right.
guess depending on where your head is at,
Hmm.
uh, with the industry. But yeah, it's a fantastic thing. I mean,
Yeah, that's one thing I
yeah,
have to say that it's just it's mind blowing, but also it's really helping your own community, your own
right.
state, or your own
Mhm.
country because you know you could be we could be helping the next generation of young actors and young actresses
Uh-huh.
out there to say,
Yeah,
hey, I want to be on TV. I want to be on film. What can I
right.
do? Where's
Mhm.
what do we do? And when they see all these works and ideas and all all the creativity of our brains
Mhm.
coming together is absolutely amazing. And I will have to say that being in entertainment industry, it's not a competition.
No,
It's
it's
not.
not.
And a lot of people, I think that's what a lot of people are confused because it's like, okay, aren't we all competing against each other? But it's not. You support each other,
Right.
independent,
Hmm.
union or non-union, indie
Yeah.
films. We all support each other. That's the
Yeah.
one thing, you love about it. And also, I love Instagram. I'll give a shout out to Instagram because
Hmm.
a lot of people are so surprised
Hmm.
that all the support and connections you can get through Instagram. You
Yeah,
never
100%.
meet the person in real life, and then
Hmm.
somehow you meet them, but you'd be so surprised of all the actors in the United States around the world are sending you messages and commenting on your posts and says, "Congratulations, you're doing
Right.
great." That is a family, you
Yes,
know. It's
exactly.
it's true, 100%.
Yeah, and the opportunities that you get with social media nowadays. I heard the interview with Brian, and he already said it, but we connected through Instagram. That's how he reached out to me, and he said, I was looking for a female director for my film, and so that was fantastic because I was like, wait, what? And then he sent me the script and it was fantastic. And I'm like, I definitely want to do this because I mean, it's a fantastic thriller. I mean, the way he writes is just fantastic
hmm
in general. But
And by the way,
um,
I've seen your work. You do amazing.
thank you.
You
Thank you so
really
much.
do. Please
Thank
keep it up. Um, I want to talk about some of this. So,
you.
your work. Everybody must be wondering, what is your next film or TV show production or you're directing? When is it
Mm-hmm.
coming out? If you're allowed to talk about it, what's the next title? What is it about?
Okay, so yes, we have something in the works. We were actually going to have Ryan produce it. Only thing is because of, again, we're moving in July. We don't know when that's gonna happen. But actually, my husband wrote a script for, and this is a comedy, which is not, again, not my genre, but it's a romantic comedy, very much like the ones in the 90s that we grew up with, like all those like funny, just lighthearted, with a good message. And when he gave me the idea, we were at a friend's home, and they have like an amazing home, right? And he's like, "I'm having an idea for a script," and he told me, and I'm like, "Ooh, please write it," because it was such a good concept, right? So he wrote it, and I said, "Okay, we can do it together. Like we can both, because he's an actor too. We can both act in it. I'm down to do this project." And we sent it to Ryan, and Ryan loved it. So he wanted to produce it. Now we're trying to see, when, how we're gonna do this, but definitely that has to be, one of the next. Then I wrote a kind of like a fantasy script that I want to produce as well. And we'll see, because again, now that we're moving there, I have friends there, and I know they are, looking forward to doing things as well. And I'll probably just create a few projects with them. So that's what I have in the works. The title for this one that we're doing um, is Somebody to Love. And I'm just gonna give a little bit of, don't want to talk too much about it, but I can give a little bit of what it's about. It's this really successful woman in her 30s, but everything she has going on is her work, right? Very focused on her work. She comes one night from being out with a couple of friends, and she finds a body on her living room. Is this man who's, doesn't know how he got there, but he's dead on her living room. She calls the police. The police tells her that they can't move the body from her
hmm
home that night. She's stuck with that body. She's putting a drink, and the body starts talking to her. And I leave it there. So it's this
I don't
whole
want you to
night.
spoil, I don't want you to
Yeah,
spoil anything. We don't want you to, I
right.
understand. I totally understand.
But yeah,
Um,
it's just a romantic comedy, and something fun to do.
right. So, my next question is, who really inspired you up till now in your life?
hmm A lot of people. So I would say in my personal life, my parents for sure, just because my parents were, and I say were because they are not in this world anymore. But they were like the kind of people that every time I said I want to do this, they will like try their best to encourage me to do it. And I don't know, like I was obsessed with Egypt when I was little, so they bought me all these books and everything, just. So they were always this type of people that is like, if you want to do something, go for it, right? Like try it. Nothing is impossible. And that's why I became the person that I am, that no matter what dream I have, I'll just try. If it doesn't work, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't work, it doesn't matter, but just try it, right? So they inspire me to always like fight for my dreams, and that's why I'm here. And then on a, I guess, professional note, I have a lot of actors and directors that I'm inspired by. um as an actress, Kate Blanchett is like my most favorite actress, and she's so perfect in everything she does
Mm-hmm.
that I just want to be like her. Directors, I have many. But yeah, I mean, in but I would say I'm always inspired by people in general. right? Like, to just be a better person, to fight for my dreams, and then again in the professional world, like every time I watch something, it's very inspiring. Every time I sit down and I enjoy something, it's always a motivation to do more.
That's amazing. That's good. And your parents have inspired you, and it's really so touching. It really
Hmm.
is. And your parents would be so proud of you.
Thank you.
I know they would be. If you could go back
Hmm.
and tell your 10-year-old yourself,
Hmm.
what would you say to yourself as a 10-year-old? Would you even imagine being a director and actress at this age? What would you tell your 10-year-old right now?
Keep dreaming. Keep dreaming, keep, like imagining in your head all these weird stories, and then never think that anything is impossible. But I would not imagine that. Like, I would like sit down and watch my movies, and it's funny because everything I watched was in English, right? Like I was obsessed with everything in English, and it's still my favorite language, even though again I'm from Spain. And I always thought I'm never gonna be able to like act there or like direct there or do anything like that because I don't know English. So my little version was like, that's impossible, right? So yeah, I would just tell myself, just keep dreaming, just keep going. You're gonna get there at some point. Yeah.
Right, the courage, the passion, keep going, never give up. That's the
Yeah.
truth, you know.
Mhm.
You probably never thought,
Mhm.
you will be this far in the entertainment industry, you
Right.
know. And just a curiosity question,
Mhm.
is there anything up till now
Mhm.
that you regret?
Not doing it sooner.
Hmm. And
That's
why is
definitely.
that, if you mind me asking?
Because I always thought, it's the kind of like, and I think also because again, I was in Spain until like 8 years ago. Because you always think there's so many people trying. Don't do it because you're never gonna get there, right? Like, why are you gonna be the special one? Why are you gonna be, doing something that another person wants to do? How are you gonna get there? So for many years, I was like, it's impossible, it's impossible, and then you do it, you start doing it, and then opportunities come, and then you keep going and you get here. But it's very challenging, right? To just take the first step and say, okay, I can do it. If anybody else can, I can myself. And it's very funny seeing it from now the outside. Because when my friend from Spain came here and we were doing the festival run for the 7 she was with us, and she went back to Spain with such energy because she's like, you see it there like this is impossible. See, so it was my mentality years ago. You see it like, you're never gonna get to this point and everything, but then you come here and it's absolutely possible. And I'm like, yeah, it's crazy because you think you have to do so much to get to this point. You just have to create. Just
Mm.
create, find the people you want to create with and just keep doing it because again now we're living out in a world that you can put your things out there. It's not
Hmm.
like back then.
Very
So
true.
now it's way easier. So yeah, it's like I regret not having that mentality way sooner and say, yeah, just try it, and I mean part of it is my husband is super supportive, and I had to say that having someone who's like just do it, like whatever you need to keep going, he's always there, so that's way easier, right, having someone like that. But yeah, it's like if I could change something, if I could go back, I would just tell myself when I was, I don't know, 18 years old, just go to acting school or something like that, or instead, going another route and going into corporate or yeah, definitely I will start way sooner. Yeah.
You know, um, you said it right there. It's, don't have no regrets.
Hmm.
Everybody's gonna have regrets. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
gonna be honest, everybody does. But it's true. Go for it.
Yeah.
if your passion is to it, it just go and take the chance. We all live once, right? We only live once in
Right.
our lifetime, right? And
Yeah.
we just go for it. And the good news is there's now Instagram, Zoom, all
Yep.
this stuff that's been going on. So that's 100% true. So I totally agree. Everything you just said.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now this is an actor's question. A lot of old tradition actors and actresses,
Mm-hmm.
they do not like Zoom audition because they like to have in-person audition to they can show their creativity, their
Mm-hmm.
what their personality is for yourself as speaking as a director and an
Mm-hmm.
actress.
Yeah.
Do you like doing Zoom on audition or do
Mm-hmm.
you like it in person?
I actually like some auditions. I like even like self tapes that you can just send, right? With the self tapes, you have an advantage that you don't have when you're in person, and that is that you can do as many takes as you want, and you just send the right one, right? So you can do a little bit of work before sending the good tape. Zoom, I mean, you don't have that many takes, right? But it's good because you can do it in your own space where you feel comfortable, right? Like you don't have to drive. LA is a nightmare. So you don't have to drive in traffic, 2 hours to get an audition. And so I think maybe I'm just that generation that is so used to the online for everything that I'm okay with that. And I think it's normal and it's good. But I definitely think I understand people wanting the in-person experience, but I think that what you get from in person, which is kind of like the connection with the other person when you're acting,
Hmm.
still doesn't really happen in an audition. So to be honest, right? To get that good feedback, you still need to act. An audition is still a little awkward, no matter if you're in person or through Zoom. So I see the advantage to do it through Zoom. And actually, for our last movie for the Serenade, we had to cast um our leads are from out of state, and we did all the self tapes through Zoom, or they just send them. And
Hmm.
that was great, right? Because you don't have to either bring people here to LA or just cast people from LA.
Right.
You're open to any other place. So
Hmm.
so yeah.
And that's the one thing I agree that a lot of actors,
Hmm.
especially young actors who go to school, that they can do Zoom audition. And then if
Right.
they get it, they can fly to New York, Los Angeles, Texas,
Exactly.
or wherever, and it's
Right.
easy. But
Hmm.
in person, I do see why it's hard because they may have to get out of school early or they may not be at school for a couple of days and
Yeah.
they're there, they have to fly there and
Right.
do it. And so I see what you're talking about, and a lot of people should
Yeah.
agree. I don't want to force people, but what they
Right.
right. So
Yeah.
now, um, you're moving to Spain.
Hmm.
Um, would you ever move back to LA and continue on the film industry as well there in LA?
Who knows? I mean, I think I'm not gonna cut ties, right? Like I'm still gonna open to do things here. I just talked to my agent and I told him, I'm moving there. Are you still open to have me, here and there? And he said, yeah, let's just talk about it for sure. So if there's opportunities here, I'll come here. We still have family here, and we have the house here, so we can probably just fly back. Um, Moving permanently, I don't know. Who knows? It depends, right? Like we don't even know how we're gonna feel going back home. Well, home for me is not home for my husband because he's from here, from LA. Um, but it's been a long time because I moved here, yeah, years ago. So this is my home too, right? So now I don't know how I'm gonna feel going back there. So
Oh yes.
right. So it's been a long time, but we think we want to stay there for a long time, but we'll see. But definitely not cutting ties. So I'll still come here to
Hmm.
work,
Hmm.
and I'll stay there too.
You're
And
gonna
and
feel homesick.
probably. I feel homesick always because it's like that's my home. This is my home. It's a never-ending homesick at this point.
And you can't be in both places at the same time.
I wish we're always saying like we had like a portal, right? You leave that home and you can just go to Spain and then come back.
Hmm,
But no.
hmm. That's true. I wish.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite genre?
In general, yeah, like thrillers, but fantasy too. Yeah, fantasy for sure too.
Hmm.
Yeah, like I would say because I'm a nerd, clearly. So everything that is fantasy related, I love it too. Yeah.
Yeah, like Star Wars.
Star Wars, yeah. Lord of the Rings. I don't know, like Game of Thrones. I was obsessed with Game of Thrones. The books, actually. I love the books more than
Hmm.
the show.
Harry
Uh,
Potter?
Harry, yeah, I grew up with that. Yeah, super obsessed with it, since I was like, what, 10 years old or something like that. Yeah,
Who's
so,
your favorite Harry Potter actor?
oof. Hmm. I never thought about that, to be honest. Like, who's my favorite? Mm.
Is there anybody particular that got your like attention during the Harry Potter movies? You're like, I'm gonna like this person.
I really, really like, and maybe it makes sense because she's half Spaniard, I'm pretty sure, Natalia Tena, see the tongues.
Hmm.
But I love that character in general, right? Um, but I think all the teachers actually were fantastic. Severus Snape, he was great. He was one of the best actors in those movies. But the kids were fantastic. I mean, as kid like actors, that they grew
Hmm.
up doing that, but they're still good actors. Actually, Daniel Radcliffe, he is one of my favorite like indie movie actors.
Hmm. Hmm.
All the indie work he's done after Harry Potter is just great. So, and it's rare that you see actors that they are, like they start as kids and they have like a blockbuster and then they keep doing like really good like indie work. He actually said he wanted to do that, that he saved all his money from the Harry Potter movies just so he could just do what he wanted after that,
Oh
like no matter if
wow.
it was like indie or whatever. And it shows he's such a good actor. So I don't know, in those movies, like everybody did a fantastic job. Like Lucius Malfoy was now in White Lotus, and when I was watching White Lotus, it took me a second to realize that he was Lucius Malfoy. It's been so long. Yeah, I think his name is um Chris Isaacs? No, something Isaacs. But
I
yeah,
can't think of the name either, but I know who you're talking about.
yeah, but he's such
I
a good
love I
actor.
love all the Harry Potter movies for sure.
Yeah.
It
Uh,
is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's like
Amazing.
a generation, right? We grew up with that, and like, it was all about the magic, and yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes.
Hmm.
My last question is, have you seen any movie in the movie theaters?
Hmm.
And which one do you recommend for the audience to see and why?
Oof, daily actually. The last one I went to watch was Baby Girl, and it was a little interesting. Uh, so I don't know if I would recommend it. I mean, Nicole Kidman, another of my favorite actresses, did a fantastic job. That was a very challenging role. It's just an interesting movie. I don't know if I loved it, but yeah, I mean, I guess if you like that kind of genre, you could watch it. But I haven't watched many movies in theaters lately aside from that, because again I've been more focused on shows. I've been watching binge watching shows,
Oh,
and I
okay.
don't know
What
if
what shows have you been watching?
Dark, just finished it again, like very good. Severance, tomorrow is the last episode, so I'm like waiting to watch it. White Lotus, I absolutely love it. It's a really specific genre,
Mm-hmm.
not for everybody, I think, but it's just fantastic. Um, yeah, I want to now rewatch the first season because I stayed in that first one. There's a show called the OA on Netflix. I watched the first season when they released it and it was great. And then I found out they actually released a little more. So that's the next thing I'm gonna watch. because again, everything that is kind of like that weird thrillery genre, I love it. So yeah, that's what I've been watching lately. But every time I talk to a friend, I say you have to watch Dark if you haven't, because that's the show
You
I
have to
recommend
watch
to,
it. You have to watch it.
yeah, to absolutely everybody. If you're an actor, if you're a director, if you're a writer, you need to watch that show, study it, and just think about doing something of that quality because it's just fantastic. I swear.
It's like you're giving out homework assignment.
Yes, 100%.
They might be like, "Yes, we know, Diane. We know, we know, we know.
Just
Okay, we'll get to it."
stop telling us. We know already. Yes.
They might be
Yeah.
thinking, "Oh no, here comes Diane. She's gonna tell us if she's gonna
To
ask
watch
us,
it
we've
again.
seen it."
Yes. Yeah, but with that and Severance, I'm bugging my friends. This is like when I like anime, right? And I feel that everybody who watches One Piece tells everybody you need to watch One Piece. So same thing.
Yes.
So yeah.
It's like,
And
"Oh
yeah.
no, run away. Diane's coming. We haven't seen anything."
Yeah, and I'm actually that kind of person that don't, you know, I'll ask you, have you watched it? We need to talk about it.
And they're
Yeah.
like, "We'll watch it." Yeah,
Mhm.
I know what you're saying. It's
Yeah.
like, for example, it's like The Walking Dead.
I watched the first season and I left it at that. And everybody has said better, you know, good that you did that because then it went down. So
Right, but like everybody who says they watched Walking Dead, they're like, "Okay, you got to
upset.
keep watching. You got to keep watching." And you're like, "What season are you on? Five? Oh, I'm only on one." They're like, "Oh, you have a long ways to go." And you're like, "Yes, I
Yeah.
know."
Yeah, and same with Lost. I mean, I'm such a fan of Lost. I love that show. It's one of my favorites too. And I feel that everybody who watched Lost did the same thing. You have to watch it, even though there's like 6 seasons or something like that. I made my husband watch it. So I made my husband watch a lot of things that he has not watched because again, I watch a lot of shows and movies and there's, it's so, too funny. Every time
I totally
we're
agree
like
with you.
scrolling through something and say, "Have you watched this movie?" No. How, how is it possible? You have to watch it now. Yeah.
I agree.
So,
I agree. Um, this came to my mind. If you could work with any director or any actress, who would it be?
ooh, okay. So if I could work with any director, I would pick Zach Braff. I would love to work with him. He is amazing. He doesn't
Hmm.
do thrillers. It's very much like you know, very like common life experiences, but I just love his stories and he's such an amazing director. I would love to work with him. And actors, right now, again, an actress, Kate Blanchett for sure. I would feel really, really small next to her, but and and an actor, I feel that I would love to work with Pedro Pascal just because he reminds me to my father so much. He loves a lot. I mean, he looks a lot like my father. So
Right, right.
I would love to play his daughter because it would be great. And he's such a warm person
Hmm.
and such a good actor.
I
Yeah.
totally agree with you. Amazing.
Mhm.
Well, thank you, Diane, for coming
Thank
on.
you.
It's been a pleasure. I can't wait to see more of your work,
Mhm.
and um, we're gonna still keep communicating with each other. And I would
Of course.
love you, have you back on again someday.
Yeah, of course. Happy to. Yeah, this was really nice. And, you know, I love always talking about all these things and nerd out a little bit.
Yes, we're gonna definitely stay in touch, Diane. Thank you again for
For
coming
sure.
on, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Same. Thank
Thank you.
you.
All right, bye-bye.
Okay, bye.